Good morning, YouTubers. Welcome back into another edition of Astros Recap. David Artis back at it here. It is 1:14 a.m. in the morning, Monday morning, Thursday or Sunday night still for me, but it is super late. Obviously, West Coast game ends at 6:30. I just don't have enough time really to get things going at the radio station, so that's why I set up the way I am tonight back at the house. But want to get this done, want to get this out. A lot of things to talk about, obviously. Those that watched today's game had a lot of heartbreaking losses this year, but that one probably ranks up there pretty high, which we'll talk about. And I have had hours now to sort of decompress or man, if I had gotten on to this podcast minutes after they lost, I would have been steaming mad. So, again, the way I did my podcast last week, I didn't really talk about the games a whole lot, just the team in general. I'm going to try to continue to do that instead of breaking down every little game for you. So, um, overall, the week was a success. I mean, I hate to say that because they should have won today's game and they should have swept the Angels, and it's disappointing that they don't. That's why it's hard to say this, but usually 4-2 week, winning both series, you usually take that every time out. But the Astros, how bad they've been in both these series, opportunities going into the third game to sweep, not being able to do it either time, that's disappointing. So, and we were trying to sort of eliminate last week's bad week, where they were 2-5. They went 5-1 with a win. Everything set up perfect for them. Had the lead today. It would have been a very good week. So not a bad week, not a great week. A good week, but not a great week. And the great week was there for the taking. But yeah, I mean, they won games 1-2 against St. Louis. They put up good runs. Monday's when it was a big comeback win. Tuesday they were actually down in both games, but they came back pretty quickly in both, able to take the lead and add some tack on runs. Didn't pitch particularly well in either one of those games, I don't think, but able to still get the wins there. Bullpen a little shaky. Bullpen's been shaky all week, it feels like, to be quite honest with you. Bullpen just, God, terrible. Thinking, obviously, today, recency bias type thing, so. But yeah, they do lose the finale to St. Louis. That was a game where the offense could never really get going, so that was the big thing there. Uh, Reynel Blanco's a guy that we sort of need to look at. He's had back-to-back very subpar starts, lost them both. I mean, they haven't been terrible starts, but he was 5-0 going in, and he's lost. Yeah, he's lost his last two, and neither of them have been very good. So Blanco's a guy to keep an eye on. He's one of those guys that we weren't expecting a ton from, hoping he could just be a fifth starter for us going into the year. Ended up being our best starter for the first 2 months of the year, but his last two starts have been a little cause for concern. So he's a guy to look at closely. I think he starts, is it tomorrow or I think it'll be Tuesday. Eric Getty tomorrow, and then yeah, Blanco Tuesday. So he'll be a guy to keep an eye on. Trying to think who else here. So I'm going to spend a lot of time breaking down today's game because it's fresh in my mind and it's the most drooling victory they've had all year. But I'm sort of looking at a few things here. I should do this before I get on, but yeah, Verlander not great there on was it Tuesday or Monday? I don't know. Verlander's also not been super great. So Eric Getty's still been good. But there's some guys that the three guys that you really sort of have been relying on, I feel like most of the year, has been Verlander, Valdez, and Blanco. The two guys that we sort of had concerns with were Hunter Brown and Eric Getty. They've actually stepped up their game, and I feel like Blanco and Verlander sort of moved down a little bit. So it's just And those are the five guys right now. I mean, they really can't afford any other injuries. Urquidy and Javier are done for the year, both having Tommy John. So they've both had surgery, and now it's just a long recovery process. So, I mean, they did add a few arms. Nick Martinez, I think, was a guy they brought over from San Diego. They have some, I think they made some other minor moves, but it'd be interesting if hopefully they don't suffer another starting pitcher injury. They've had so many of them so far this year, but they're really thin on that side. So also Tucker's injury fouled a ball off his shin, I think, on Monday's game. Haven't seen him since. In fact, they put him on the IL. Um, Bregman had a hand. I didn't even see what happened. He got hit and he hand again today. The same hand that was already bothering him, so he got pulled out. I don't have an update on Bregman, but he did not play the entire game. So they've been shorthanded offensively with those two guys. I mean, Bregman sort of, you never know what to expect. I mean, I know he's hit some home runs, but he's still been a massive disappointment this year. Tucker's been their best offensive player, and he hasn't played since, I mean, he got taken out Monday. So, and they actually played pretty well without him throughout the week. So, but yeah, I mean, you lose the Wednesday game. Offense really didn't show up. They hit two home runs, I think, back to back. I think it was Trey Cabbage and Yaner Diaz. Diaz, in fact, had a Diaz finally looks better at the plate. So bad in the month of May. Got 2 days off where they started Caratini, and he came back and had a stretch of 4 straight games with a home run. So hopefully Yaner can start to turn the corner a little bit offensively. He still struggles, I feel like. He also took a foul ball off the hand today. So, and I mean, he stayed in the game, but I don't know with his hand issue. So, but yeah, Friday you get the win. That pretty 7-1 game. Saturday 6-1. I mean, Fromber went the distance Friday. He had the off day Thursday and Friday. So you didn't have to use your bullpen for 2 straight games. So you thought your bullpen would be in pretty good shape. I don't like what, I've, we're going to focus on today's game here, basically now. But I don't like the way that Joe Espada, listen, I have not been, a lot of the fan base hates Espada. They want him fired. They want him gone. They complain about him every single day. I've not been that guy. I'm trying to be fair. I'm not. He's made questionable decisions, pitch hitting wise, throughout the game. He never shows a lot of fire. I wish he would show some frustration. Maybe get thrown out in a game, chew out an umpire, something. He just doesn't. It doesn't seem like, and we don't see everything behind closed doors, of course, but it just doesn't seem like he has a lot of fire out there. I mean, AJ Hinch didn't do it either. Neither did Dusty Baker. But the team responded well to those guys, and I just, Espada needs to man up and make some tough decisions. I feel like he's a little hesitant. I feel like he's almost scared of some of his players. I think he's scared of Bregman a little bit. I think he just, it's kind of weird, but I've not been on the, I have not, I'm going to air out Espada a little bit here tonight in just a second here, because the bullpen, Presley's done, okay? He needs to stop being used. It's done. I mean, how many times we went through this all last year with the Rafael Montero. It was just every single time. And Dusty used him. It wasn't working. I don't know why it takes these managers so long to figure out what doesn't work. It's like y'all want to believe things that aren't happening. I mean, we all want to believe Presley could, count and shut the door in the 8th inning, but it's been proven that he can't over and over and over again. I mean, we talked about this last week. He blew the game to Minnesota. He blew the early game to Seattle. And then he comes in and he does the same thing. And this isn't just the third time. He's been doing it all year. I mean, we're into June. Now, I'll give relievers the month of April to figure things out, which Hader did, sort of. I know he struggled today, but Hader sort of figured things out. He looked like the best of the bunch out there in the bullpen. Closer. Of course, it's hard to get to him with a lead these days, feels like. A 1-run lead, just hold it. But it would Presley, you got to sit him down and be like, listen, dude, it's not working. I don't care how Presley feels about whatever, dude. You're not pitching well enough. He's also a guy I'd like to dump at the trade deadline because I'm just done with him. He won't stick around this team a whole lot longer. He wants to be the closer. He'll say whatever you want to hear, whatever. Okay. His job is to get 3 outs in the eighth inning, and that job is now that can't happen anymore. Espada, stop putting him out there in the eighth inning. I mean, it just can't. Today. Yeah, I mean, listen, there's a lot of blame to go around today. Just to give you a quick recap, Astros were up 3-1. Verlander was not good. He blew that lead. They lost it 4-3. Came back quickly to tie it, take the lead. They were up 7-3 or 7-4. And you get into those late innings, and once again, it's Abreu and Abreu for two. Abreu's a guy I want to trust, and he's got to be the eighth inning guy, but he never makes it easy. I thought Abreu was starting to turn the corner a little bit. It looked like he, and then he goes out both days, Saturday and Sunday, and although he doesn't go runs, he struggles, he battles through it. I mean, like Presley, like Abreu's got better stuff than Presley. Presley can strike some guys out, but I feel like he's more, he doesn't have things that will blow you away. Abreu does. He has a 99-mile-per-hour fastball. He can work through some jams, but he still plays with fire. It feels like more often than not. So Abreu's not a guy I look at and think, well, he should be. He was good last year. He was good, second half of the year in 2022. He's a guy you're supposed to be able to rely on. So is Presley. It just hasn't worked out the way things were planned to this year. I mean, it's been bad since day one. And we're into June. And the team's 30-36. It just, nothing's worked out the way you had hoped. Bullpen-wise. Starters, all things considered, have held up their end of the bargain. Hitters, very inconsistent. Can't hit consistently. It's been up and down. Guys have struggled. You go up and down the lineup. Bregman's been a bitter disappointment all year. Altuve's fine. Alvarez struggled in May mightily. Yainer Diaz was nothing in the month of May. Of course, first base with John Singleton, and we don't even see Singleton anymore. It's Abreu every day. And don't get me started with Abreu. I know he had a few hits today, but Abreu's been, he's on the cusp of just pulling the cord. Get out of here. Pena's been good. That's been a bright spot. I'll give him credit. Myers was hot at one point, but now he's like ice cold. He went from the hottest hitter in the world to the coldest. Like he's doing nothing now. Chas McCormick's been awful this year. Kyle Tucker's been fine, but you go up and down the lineup. There's a lot of guys that have not done what you had hoped. So that's where it is for the lineup. We've had to really call up a lot more players than I think we would have preferred. Eric Getty being called up. I don't think Loperfido being called up. Trey Cabbage, he's not a big player, but I just feel like a lot of these players had to be called up prematurely because of everything that's been going on so far this year. It's just been a complete mess. But to get back to today's game, I need to pull up the phone for this because I need to pull up the exact how this game played out. So I talked about, taking the 3-1 lead early on. LA actually tied it after 4. It was 3-3. Then Verlander got the fourth run there, the fifth inning. But Verlander, another start, not very good. Don't know what to make with him. He's old, but he's still, you still expect to get more from him. So the Astros scored early runs, and the 4-run sixth was the big inning. That was the inning where you not only took the lead, but you broke it open, gave your guys a few insurance runs, and then it was really the meltdown in the 8th, 9th inning. They got through the 7th, not easily. Abreu struggled to get through that inning. But to give you Verlander's line, he ran the pitch count up. In fact, another Espada went out there. I think Espada originally wanted to get him. It was 4 1/3, and his pitch count was like at 98. And Verlander was yelling into his glove, refusing to come out of the game. And that actually worked out. Went in there, you got a double play ground ball, got out of the inning. In fact, he was in line to get the win because the Astros didn't put up the 4 runs there. in the top half of the sixth, and he was in the line to be the winning pitcher. So everything worked out for Verlander to where it looked like things were, getting the win. And although his numbers weren't great, 4 earned runs in no way, shape, or form. You can go all 9 innings. If you give up 4 runs, that's not a good start. Seth Martinez came in. He gave up a run. It was unearned. He struck out 2. He only got 2 outs. Those were his 2 outs, the 2 strikeouts. But the 1 run unearned. Another interesting play. So we talked about Bregman got hit in the hand. He got taken out of the game. Not at that point. He ran the bases, but after that inning ended, that was an inning. I think they should have actually added a. Well, I don't know. Anyway, they moved Dubon, who was in left field, to third to take Bregman's spot, and they brought in Cabbage, who went out to left field. Dubon, first play of that next inning, ball comes right to him. He boots it. He completely whiffed on it. I think went to the outfield. That was the unearned run that scored on Martinez's line. But I just thought it interesting. Like, they didn't want, Martinez faced 3 batters, and that was it. He didn't let Martinez get out of the 6th inning. Now you bring in Montero, who gets the out. He gave a hit. Montero wasn't great, but a hit. That might have scored the run, the hit Montero gave up. Not 100% on that. I have to dig deep to go find that. But, yeah, Montero comes in. You get out of that inning, and, the score at that point is now 7-5. Yeah, 7-5. So you use Martinez to get 2 outs, Montero to get 1 out, and you're lining things up for what's death in this bullpen, which is Abreu, Press, and Hader. And I don't know why it's still this same scenario every time. Espada can't continue to do this. It's not working. We're into June, okay? Abreu comes in. He is not sharp at all. He's falling behind hitters. He works through it. He gets through it, but, I'm looking. He walked only 1 guy, I guess, struck out a guy, but he was behind in counts. Very wild. He didn't make it easy. I just felt like there was traffic everywhere in that inning. He might have hit a batter as well, I'm not sure. But I'm gonna take a deeper dive at this because I need to look now. So I'm gonna do it here. Going into the 7th inning here. Gotta scroll down far to do it here. Yeah, Astros had a chance. Pena grounded out. Diaz singled. Myers doubled. You had 2nd and 3rd with 1 out. And Dubon pops out and Abreu lines out, inning over. Should have added more of that inning. Couldn't do it. You also had an inning where you had 1st and 2nd, nobody out. Couldn't add on runs there. That might have been the 8th inning if I look up. Yeah, you had 2 singles. Cabbage strikes out, and Alvarez grounds into a double play. So in both the 7th and 8th, the Astros should have scored 10 to 12 runs in this game, and we wouldn't have this conversation right now. But this has been a recurring theme. Get runners on base, can't get them in. But yeah, we're going to focus on the pitching here. So bottom half of the 2nd, here comes Brian Abreu. Gets the first guy to line out. He hits Luis Rengifo. Then he gets a force out. Get a runner on first, 2 outs. He walks the next batter. Hit by pitch, walk batter. Gets Pilar to strike out swinging, so no harm done. But again, a lot of pitches and just not very sharp, falling behind hitters, hitting a guy, walking a guy. You were lucky to get through that inning. But yeah, top half of the 8th, the Astros had 2 runners on, nobody out, and did absolutely 0 with it. You go to the 8th, here comes Pressey again. You pray and hope that he just doesn't blow it, and here we go. First hitter, ground rule double. Second hitter, actually got a strikeout called out on strikes. Next hitter doubles and scores a run. Now this is where things get a little interesting. So a wild pitch got the runner to third with 1 out. And Mickey Moniak is up, and the count gets to 3-1. Now I'm sitting here watching this game. The count's 3-1 on Moniak. So he's in danger of walking this guy. it's a one-run ball game at this point. It's Houston 7, LA 6, and Josh Miller makes a mound visit with the count 3-1, 3-1 count. Kind of weird to make a mound visit in the middle of an at bat the way he did. But he goes out there, and a few things I noticed. One was, I'm telling myself at this point, Hader should be up. Hader should be coming in right now. If he walks this guy and the count was 3-1, Hader should be coming in. Miller comes out, talks to Presley, and they flash the bullpen. Hader's, looking like he's ramped up, ready to go. I mean, he's not sitting waiting. He's still throwing, but he's throwing hard from the rubber. And that was what I like to see that. And I'm telling myself, if he walks Moniak, it's time to go get Hader, and you need to give me 5 outs. That's what I'm thinking. I mean, Hader's gone 2 innings in the past, no issues with it, and he's the only guy in the bullpen I trust right now. I mean, you can trust a few other arms, but Presley's not. He's at the bottom of the barrel right now. And I even felt like the Josh Miller visit there in the middle of the count, 3-1 count, was almost a stall tactic. Because it looked like Hader was getting ready. But I noticed that, and sure enough, pitching goes back. Presley walks on the next pitch, so it's first and third, 1 out. And at this point, I'm like, all right, come on, let's go, Espada. Walk into the dugout, go get Hader. It's time to get out of this inning. It's time to get 2 strikeouts and go into the ninth of the lead. And it's funny because I'm watching closely. First Presley peeks into the dugout, like looking for Espada to come up the steps. I guess he doesn't. Then you see Yonder Diaz looking into the dugout like, are you coming or are you not? And I don't know if Espada thought about it or not. I don't know if Hader was necessarily fully ready. But it just looked like they were stalling for time. But no, he let Presley stay in the game. A ground ball with the infield drawn in. Hit too slowly. In fact, I don't even think the infield was in actually. But a ground ball, and that scores, ground ball, RBI. They get the out at first, but the damage now done, 7-7, and you've lost your lead. And Presley, once again, finds a way to screw it all up. Then they finally, so you waited a batter too long. You finally go get Hader to finish out. I just don't get it. Like, if Hader's not ready, how is he ready? You go get Hader after the damage had been done. It just didn't make sense to go get Hader at that. I mean, Presley could have given up the lead at that point, so I get it. But you brought in Hader too late. It didn't make sense. He should have been brought in before. I mean, he's the guy that you expect to strike people out. Hader. Runners on first and third, 1 out. I mean, you put a ball in play, good chance you're going to score the run there. So, I mean, it's been Presley. It's just been an issue with him all year. He just can't. He gives up hard contact. He can't consistently throw strikes, and he consistently blows games because Espada puts him in high leverage situations. It's been a nightmare. See, Presley is last year's Montero to this point. That's just who he is. But you bring in Presley, and there's an error. That might have been the error. I don't know. I think, this was the second error. Dubon at third. He made 2 errors. This was the second one, I think. Rengifo reached on an error. He stole second base, but then Hader got a strikeout, so you go to the 9th inning. Tie game. And sure enough, Pena lines out. Diaz strikes out. Meyer grounds out. That was a quick inning. They bring in their closer, Carlos Estevez. That inning lasted like 7-8 pitches, which is another issue with the Astros. When they have 1, 2, 3 innings, they don't even put up a fight. That was a pathetic inning. They leave in Hader. Joe Adele pinch hits for Cole Tucker. He flies out. Then the single by Pilar and the Logan Ohape home run. And that home run was interesting. So Cabbage deserves some blame for this as well. So he's only in the game because Bregman got hurt and they had to move the defensive alignment a little bit out in left field. So Thing you know about Angel Stadium, their walls right down the corners there are very short, like 5 feet tall. But Hoppe hits one in the left. It's a high fly ball. Cabbage gets there. His gloves into the second or third row, but he catches the ball. I mean, the ball's caught. And as he pulls it out of the stands, he drops it. He dropped it in the stands. But he had the ball. Like, this isn't one of those robbing catches where you're going full speed. You grab the ball, the impact of the wall as you leap pops out. This wasn't that. He dropped it. He just dropped it. You can't drop the ball and that's it. I mean, like, listen, I'm not going to get all crazy about that because Presley blew things. Hader wasn't good. Abreu, the offense not capitalizing on some insurance runs. I mean, that's just the Cabbage part's a very small part of this game, but you got to make the catch, especially considering you had caught the ball. And this wasn't like he caught it and then it fell out of the glove. Like, he caught it, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, and all of a sudden he comes up, the ball's not in his glove because he dropped it. I mean, he dropped it in the stands. And the runners run sure, and one person might have gone past the other, and I'm not going to get into all that, but Cabbage, dude, like, you gotta come. I did just, that was a perfect way to end an awful, putrid, just unfathomable baseball game. To end the week on just the worst possible game, the worst, my God, just everything about that game was terrible. So, yeah, they went 4-2 this week, but that's not good enough. Sorry. You want to start winning series, you got to mix in some sweeps in there as well. And you had 2 opportunities to do it this week, and you couldn't do it either time. So sorry, I can't. Reliving that game makes me even more angry than I just stated. But yeah, things are bad. A long plane flight, short flight, but now it's a long flight because of the meltdown the team had as you go to San Francisco starting tomorrow for 3. So I'm coming. This is a lot longer than I wanted, but yeah. Presley needs to be demoted. Sit him down tomorrow, whatever it is, on the plane. It should be done already. Where Espada, man up, dude. Man up. You made terrible decisions today. You deserve just as much blame as everybody else for blowing this game. I'm finally airing out Espada because he deserves it, okay? But stop using Presley. This should have been done weeks ago. We've been talking about this all week. I've talked about it. I talked about it last week. Presley blew a game against the Twins in a tie game, gave up the winning run, gave up that lead to the 2-1 game. We should have beaten the Mariners that one game. You blew that one. You've blown 4 or 5 others earlier in the year, all in April, all in May. Nothing's gotten better with Presley. He needs to be done. Goodbye. All right, you pitch 5th, 6th innings, low leverage, up 5, down 5. Don't give him any chance to blow games. You got to pray and hope with Abreu. And I'm not that concerned with Hader because he's been better, okay? But Presley, just get him out of my life, please. I'd look to dump him now, to be quite honest. I wouldn't even say, listen, you're being demoted. I'd be picking up the phone and calling Baltimore Orioles and say, what do you want for Hader? Of course, Hader doesn't have a lot of value because he's been so bad. His ERA is ballooned up to over 5. But, this game just... Love to hear your thoughts. Comment section below, please. Keep it there. 3 with San Francisco. You come back home 3 versus... Don't even know who they play. It's like a team not interesting. Was it the Twins or... No, it's not that we just played the Twins. Who is it? Detroit. Yeah. Again, trying to win series, so we'll get over this. We'll hopefully be ready to go tomorrow. And hopefully with a new setup in the back end of the bullpen. I mean, use Montero, use Martinez, use Taylor Scott. They can't be any worse than Abreu, the gas can he is right now. Not Abreu. Presley. He's awful. Can't do it. But I'll wrap things up there. I know I went super long. Breaking down that one game really irked me. But, yeah. Just can't continue this way. Please, Espada. Man up. Get Abreu out of here. I can't even say it right. Get Presley out of here. Just get him out of here. Please. Sick of watching Presley blow games all year. All right? Wrap things up there. Good night. Goodbye.